Thanks for staying with us. The Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee, LPDC, has declined a petition seeking to revoke the legal license of activist and author Dele Farotimi over allegations of professional misconduct and criminal defamation. The petition filed by Emmanuel Chambers, a law firm led by Chief Afe Babalola, accused Farotimi of violating multiple provisions of the rule of professional conduct for lawyers through his controversial book, Nigeria and its Criminal Justice System. The LPDC, however, ruled that the alleged offenses occurred in Farotimi's capacity as an author and not as a legal practitioner. According to its report, the publication is an intellectual property and not the conduct of action committed while practicing as a legal practitioner. All aggrieved parties who find the publication defamatory should ventilate their grievances through the regular courts. Our guest this morning is Barrister Elvis Asia, legal practitioner. Good morning and welcome to the program, Barrister.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on the program.
Yeah. When the Emmanuel Chambers said that he has gone against the conduct, he has gone against so many rules, has broken so many rules as a professional lawyer himself, that's Farotimi right now. What did they really mean? Does it mean that once you are a lawyer, you cannot speak against the judiciary if they are going wrong or whether they are going wrong or not?
Well, I think what they were trying to say is that the allegations made by Farotimi in his book appears to cast aspersion not just on the integrity of the court, of the Supreme Court, but on lawyers. I saw the petition. They were trying to look at various rules of professional conduct, like rules that deals with relationships between a lawyer, with other lawyers, and as well as the court. I think that was the point they were trying to make. That look, these statements appears to contravene those provisions. But I think the way they got it wrong is that it is not everything the lawyer does that can come within the purview of the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee. It has to be something done in the course of the practice of law. So if a lawyer is on the street doing something else in business or whatever, that shouldn't come within the purview or within the jurisdiction of the LPDC. That's why if you look at the rules of professional conduct, most of the provisions deals with, in fact, the Legal Practitioner Act, which establishes the body, expressly states that what that body will be looking at matters has to do with the conduct of legal practitioners in the course of practicing law. It's not just everything. So I believe that is why the LPDC came up with this decision.
What do you mean in the course of practicing law? What do you mean in the course of practicing law? Because I don't understand. If you are a lawyer and you do something just like Farotimi has said, does that mean, okay, if you say it is not in the course of his practicing law, what does it really mean? I don't understand. Because if he's still a lawyer and he's going against the rules that guide being a member of that group, and then why are we saying he didn't do it in the course of being a lawyer or doing his professional work?
Well, I mean, what he did was to publish a book.
Yeah. And
publishing a book is totally different from the practice of law.
But he's still a lawyer.
Practice of law in this sense would be, for example, practicing law would mean in this sense representing a client either in court or in non-contentious matters, in transactions, and in the process of doing that, you conduct yourself in a manner that is inconsistent with rules of professional conduct. That will come within the purview of the LPDC.
Okay,
but,
I see.
The mere fact that you're a lawyer doesn't mean that every action that you take will come within the purview of the LPDC.
Beautiful. But the Emmanuel Chambers should know better. They should have known this angle of the law, but they still went ahead and did that, and giving people the opportunity to say this is what they have always been doing, gagging some people and making sure that everything is in their favor. That's one of the foundations of the book and what we are fighting. Farotimi is fighting right now anyway. But Farotimi has been given bail conditions. He has perfected the bail conditions. He has been asked never to speak to the press anymore, and so many other things. Now, how will that affect his practice as a lawyer? Even though the LPDC has failed to debar him, how will all this affect his practice as a lawyer?
Well, legally speaking, whatever bail terms that was given has nothing to do with his ability to practice law. Practicing law, strictly speaking, does not necessarily mean speaking to the press. Practicing law, it's, the legal practice is a conservative profession, so it's not actually meant to be practiced on the media. So what a lawyer practices is craft in court or in transactions representing clients with various bodies, or even in transactions that are not necessarily contentious. So those terms will not impact on his.
No. I'm not afraid that the terms of the bail conditions are going to affect it. That's not what I mean. I mean the trials that is going through, the prosecution that is going through right now. How will it affect his profession, and how will it also affect the entire profession? Because some people might think that, okay, if this can happen to Farotimi, maybe it's another ball game. It will also happen to me and all that. And then people will fail to speak out. So how will it affect that profession and affect him as a person, whether he emerges from this victorious or not?
You're right. You're right. On the last count, there's various cases that have been filed against him in different courts and even in different states. So answering to this, and there are 2 criminal charges at the Federal High Court and the Magistrate Court. And so answering to these cases obviously would, limit his ability to represent his clients. Because, for example, if he has a case in court and, he's supposed to go to trial in any of these cases, so the chances are that he won't be able to do that. So that's to really impact it. And you're also right that, people would now be wary of speaking the truth, considering that it's possible for them to be gagged the way to appear that Farotimi is being gagged in this case. But you have to balance the equation. Reputation is actually everything. When your reputation is challenged, your total being is being challenged, and sometimes people forget rules. They forget protocol in an attempt to protect their reputation. Perhaps that is what is playing out, because I really don't understand why somebody who is being charged for defamation, if it exists in equity, like it's being contested, if it exists, it will be a misdemeanor, a very simple offense. And every lawyer should be given bail or cell recommendations for such an offense. It is, with due respect to the process, it is absolutely sad and shocking that the lawyer would be kept in detention for weeks for a misdemeanor. I mean, it doesn't speak well of the process, and it doesn't help free speech, and it's likely, like you are suggesting, going to affect the way amount of people are able to express themselves. Let's even forget about the merits of whether or not what he has published is right or what is wrong. Those things don't matter at this stage. What matters is the process. Let's not assume, for example, that there's a criminal defamation law in a state. Let's not assume that the prosecution at the Federal High Court will probably fight and all of that. The question is, should that keep a lawyer behind bars, or any Nigerian for that matter? Let's even forget about it as a lawyer for 3 weeks. If he's sentenced for those offenses, how many years goes to stay in prison? And then out of that, he has already spent 3 weeks, and in spite of which he may not be found guilty. So it's quite, it doesn't speak well of the process, quite frankly. And it's, those who are already not comfortable with our processes, justice administration processes, would further, be incensed by actions like this. But I think what is important is that people should always be mindful of what they say, whether or not the process is fair or not. Free speech is not actually a license to say anything. It's only a license to express your opinion, objective opinion, to express verified information, and to express the truth. But like I said, those are issues that are in contention. I don't have any problem with somebody filing an action to try to protect his reputation. But the thing is that the process should be, should be civil, should be democratic. You cannot, gag somebody simply because he has expressed himself in a book. I would think that you would, if you want to really fight to maintain your reputation, which you are entitled to, you should do so without necessarily going through all of these, some of the stories that we've heard in this process that do not really sound appropriate.
Yeah, but it seems as if this process, this keyword process that you're talking about, seem to even be vindicating the person who is accused of defamation, because some of the things that are happening or playing out right now are some of the things that he mentioned in his book. So is this case going to really bring victory to the judiciary, or is going to even scar it more? Just a personal opinion, please.
Well, the judiciary is part of the Nigerian experience, and so the judiciary cannot be different from what we see in Nigeria on a daily basis. The truth of the matter is that there's corruption in the country, and so the judiciary is part of the country, and so whatever is happening in the country will also rub off on the judiciary. In recent times there has been a lot of hues and cries over what's happening with the judiciary, and those are legitimate concerns, like what we are seeing. And cases like this will further, deepen the lack of trust that most Nigerians now have on the judiciary. But in my view, it's a good thing. This is an opportunity for everybody to be reminded that corruption is not something. Corruption in the judiciary is not something that should be allowed by whatever means. And so people are speaking. This trial is actually putting the judiciary on trial. And I think this is what perhaps Farotimi wanted all along. And I think they've given him what he wanted on a platter of gold, so that some of these issues can be trashed out in court, and he will bring his evidence that he says he has, and and that way everybody is warned and reminded that we cannot continue like this. We need to have a system that is fair, it is just, a system that respects the democratic rights of citizens of a country. We shouldn't continue to operate a system where people receive phone calls and decisions are made. We shouldn't continue to operate a system where, on the whims or the whims and caprices of somebody, people can be kept in detention through remand process, in respect of offenses that, are misdemeanors or that may not even exist. From my practice today, people are being remanded for civil transactions, simply because there are powerful people who have connections with the police, who have connection with whatever, and they're able to just keep people in detention. And so that is not a system that anybody wants to see. And so if that system is being challenged by somebody in a book, and those who feel aggrieved genuinely, are trying to ventilate their grievance and anger, they should do so within a very civil and democratic process. There shouldn't be a vindication of the allegation that is being made. And quite frankly, I'm not saying that anybody orchestrated what has happened, but I can say that this is absolutely wrong. No Nigerian should be kept in detention for 3 weeks over a misdemeanor. That ordinarily should be, from my practice, bail is granted as a matter of course by the magistrates in cases like this. Even if you don't have a lawyer, they will grant you bail. So to prolong the bail process like this in magistrate court over a misdemeanor is not something that is palatable. And so, I think we all have to do better as the judiciary, whether it is the bar, whether it's the bench, and the system. We can't continue to have a system that just runs on the oil of unseen hands, and we continue to see situations like this.
If it were within your power to dictate the process of this, because like you said, the judiciary is on trial in this case, it will either come out stronger or come out with a weaker. That's not the word I would want to use, but let's just say weaker, just as the opposite of stronger. So if you were to advise, what would you say should be the process of carrying this thing out, going through this case and how you want it resolved?
I mean, like I said, reputation is everything. Those who are concerned about the reputation, they are right, and they are right to do so. I don't have any problem with that. But in doing so, my plea is that we all should play by the rules. Yes, there are contentions as to whether or not there's even the criminal defamation in the state. Assuming it exists, I would have expected that the process would simply be on the day it was brought to court. It would be granted bail on self-recognition, even, without any much trouble. And then, the trial will commence. He will face his trial. He will come and defend the allegations that he has made. And then those who have also filed civil processes, there are processes that you go through. I don't want this situation. I don't want anything to be swept under the carpet. I don't want him to be protected if he has made false allegations. Nobody's allowed to make false allegations against people. It shouldn't be allowed. That's why you are supposed to have a civilized society. But the system must take its course. Somebody was asking me the other day why, even when it is clear that somebody has committed an offense, you still have to go through the whole talk or the whole process of trial in a criminal case. And I said, look, the whole idea is to protect the innocent man. And so that's why, part of the criminal jurisprudence is that it is better for 9 guilty persons to go scot-free, for one innocent person to be held in captivity for an offense that he didn't commit. So that is the process I would wish to have. I'm not saying that, you should go and withdraw the case. It's your reputation. You should protect it. In fact, reputation must be protected with everything that you have got. But everything you have got has to be done within the confines of the laws and procedures of a democratic society that is acceptable, that is fair, that is just. And that is really what I'm looking forward to. And I mean, this is a great opportunity for Farotimi to come up with whatever evidence he says he has. And of course, it's also a great opportunity for the other side to challenge and establish their reputation. And don't forget that in the criminal process, the duty is on the prosecution to prove the guilt of somebody beyond reasonable doubt. Which is why if I were I'm not in the shoes of those who are angry, agree. I would rather prefer the civil process, where the duty will be on the publisher of something to come and establish, to come and justify it. Or in the criminal process, you have to come and prove. So, for example, the prosecution will have to show that they have interrogated all the people that he has mentioned. They have established that what he's saying is false. So these are some of the things that the process should be allowed to play out without malice. That's just what I would love to see. I'm not against his either prosecution, civil or criminal process, if that is actually still part of our laws. But let's do it within within what is right, within what is fair, within what is just.
Yeah,
this unnecessarily.
The defense lawyer did say that whatever they're charging him for in Ekiti State, even in Ekiti State, is not recognized by law. Like it's not a criminal case by law, even in Ekiti State. But we also know that he has been charged, or he has been here in Lagos State, that kind of a case, we know for a fact that is not treated as a criminal case, but he's still being charged here in Lagos. And I don't know. But 2024 has been eventful in so many ways, but in the judiciary, how would you rate the judiciary in 2024? We are entering 2025. How has the judiciary fared, in your own opinion?
What I will tell you is that what we are asking the judiciary to do today is impossible. The kind of system, the kind of justice we want to see today cannot be delivered by the judiciary of today. Not necessarily because of corruption, but because the system under which they work is impossible. You can't have a judge with hundreds of cases. In some cases, they have 50, 40 matters on their list. And you want to expect them to do justice. Justice cannot be done. I think we haven't paid much attention to the process of getting justice. And we have unduly, quite frankly, shift the blame to judges in terms of blaming them for the crisis in the judiciary. I think the problem really is that have we committed enough funding to the judiciary? In Lagos here, for example, you have the Federal High Court. Anytime I'm going to that Federal High Court, I have BP overnight. Because first, you're not going to even have anywhere to sit. And then the judge is going to have over 30, 40 matters on the list. How are you going to do it? I've had a case adjourned 3-4 times for hearing, of an appeal, because the judge doesn't have the space. So, 2024, yes, beyond the issue of corruption, which I don't want to talk about because those are criminal issues that you need, concrete evidence to establish. I haven't, on my practice, seen it personally. But I can say that, the justice system, the administration of justice in the country, the way we are going about it, I don't think we want justice. I just think we just want the semblance of it. Because if we really want justice,
when you say we, who do you mean? When you say we, who do you mean when you say we? Is it the people? Is it the government? Because you've talked about 30 cases, for instance. How is that?
When I say we, I'm talking about the entire stakeholders, all the stakeholders in the system. Of course, government is a paramount part of the stakeholders. Even those of us who are the Nigerian Bar Association, for example, I don't know what we are doing because we need to look at the real issue. The real issue essentially is that the system it's not possible to get justice from the system that we have right now. We don't have the tools. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have the technology. Judges are still writing with long hands. We're not going to get justice with that. Most of the judges that you see, many of them, they have waist pain. They are sick. This is what we see on a daily basis. You can't have a judge sit down for hours to be writing in the 21st century. I can't even write now. Because I haven't had to sit down to be using Bible to write in over a decade. And that's what you expect judges to be doing today. To take notes in shorthand. All right? And then you don't have the court. The courtrooms are not comfortable. The infrastructure is not there. In the Court of Appeal that you have in Lagos, you have just 2 courtrooms, and hundreds of appeals are filed every day. So, quite frankly, I think we need to look at the real issues of the judiciary. Yes, corruption is part of it. If you want to fight corruption, you have to fight corruption holistically within the Nigerian system. You have to put the structures in place. You cannot just, zero it to the judges alone. You have to, it's a system-wide problem. But at least for other cases that, because most of the times you hear corruption, these are cases you talk about, political cases where there are influences and all that. But millions of the cases, millions of the time, and the ones I have been dealing with, you don't have issues of corruption. What you have is you don't have the system that can deliver justice. So we need to focus on that if we really want to have a great judicial system in 2025.
I don't know how we're going to go about this because it seems as if to some extent, those people who are supposed to get the infrastructure in place, employ the judges and do everything that they're supposed to do are benefiting from it. I'm talking about the government right now. And where the government is trying to show concern, they are the ones still giving handouts to the judiciary. They are the ones now still building houses for the judges and so many other things. So I'm wondering where this reform will come from. Will it be that the government should do more, or will it be that the judiciary itself will have to sit up more? Yeah.
That is part of the corruption of the system. this idea of giving handouts. And I think our government in the last few years appears to have concentrated on these handouts. You see look at how many people have died in recent times from palliatives. This palliative system of governance, where you want to make it look like you're helping the people, you're helping judges by building housing. That shouldn't be the case. It should be an automated system. A judge should be entitled to XYZ, and that should be in the budget on a yearly basis. You see, they will tax the job of a judge. It's a very serious and difficult job. You need them to be comfortable, but you cannot be doing it as if you are doing it. You are the one helping them in an attempt to expect favor, impliedly from that process, like we are seeing now. So, if you really want to fix the problem, you need to have budgetary system. You need to have a template on what judges require every year to function properly, and then give it to them. They deserve it. But it's not like you are doing a favor. Like this handout system that we see from Wiki and this government. It's appalling, and it's an insult on the judges. You can't be giving them what they're entitled to as if you are assisting them. It's not an assistance. It is something that is due if we really want to have a system that can deliver the justice that we expect as a people, or that we deserve as a people. A justice system that is envisaged by the constitution of this country. Then you need to have that infrastructural empowerment of the judiciary, not as a palliative, but as a system. Where for example, every year you look at the number of cases in the previous year. I don't know whether there's anybody doing that. They're supposed to do all this mathematics. Like in the previous year, how many cases were filed? How many cases were concluded? And how many judges we need to have more cases concluded in the next year? How many courtrooms we require? This should be something that is done as a matter of routine. It shouldn't be something that the Wiki will think about as part of somebody's political agenda. It should be the norm. So we if we really want to have that system that we all talk about, because I just sometimes, as much as I'm angry about corruption and the judicial system or whatever it is, but I also feel that sometimes we really we don't look at the real issues. Judges are working under very extreme conditions. Many of them are not doing well, because of the system. It's a systemic problem. You have lack of properly trained registrars. How many times do we train all these registrars? How many support system do we have for judges? We have seen retired judges coming to complain about the registry. And the registry they're not judicial officers, but they without them, the judges cannot deliver justice. And so how much support do we give to them? What is their pay like? And do they have any incentive not to hide files for people who give them money? I'm not saying this because it's what I've seen. Even the former justice of the is it called the Colbert made that point.
It's all right.
So these are some of the issues.
Yes, Nigerians just wonder. Nigerians just wonder because judiciary is the third arm of government, and judiciary is made up of people who are learned, very learned, that should be able to fight for their rights. And we just wonder why it keeps happening this way, that they are being cheated out of their rights, so to speak. But that would be a matter of another day, and we need to wrap up right now. Barrister Elvis, we would like to wish you a Merry Christmas, and we hope that there are so many boxes that you are going to box open this morning, and a prosperous New Year in advance.
I wish to say thank you for having me on the program.
Yeah. We've been talking to Barrister Elvis Asia, a legal practitioner. We were looking at the case between Afe Babalola and Farotimi and what is going on right now. So we thank him. But today we are going to draw the curtain early enough. That's for you to go home or for you to have time to do what you're going to do. Today is Boxing Day. Boxing Day is not the day to beat somebody. Boxing Day is not the day to give someone a black eye. Boxing Day means that all the parcels you were given at Christmas, maybe you were celebrating so much with your friends, you didn't have time to unbox them. So today you have that opportunity to unbox those your boxes. That's why it is called Boxing Day. It's not a day to organize boxing competitions. It's not a day for couples to fight. It's not a day for friends to fight. Boxing Day is to open your presents. But if you do not have a present or a present or a box to open your heart to love, so that you can love more and accommodate more and tolerate more. Because hey, this life is not about you. It's about all of us. Some people can have different views. Some people can go crazy at some point, but you have to look at them with the eyes of the reason for the season, that is Jesus Christ, which is love. And every religion that knows its onions preaches about love. Don't mind whether they're extremists in any religion. You can find extremists in Islam. You can find them even in Christianity. You can find them everywhere. But all the religions preach love. Even the African traditional religion, they preach love. So this season is to remind us about love. This season is to remind us about peace, because the scripture also says, as long as it is possible, or as long as it is within your power, live in peace with everybody else. And this season also preaches about unity. So let us have these three virtues. Let's love, let's live in peace, and let's be united. And our Nigeria will be a Nigeria of our dreams. Thank you so much for being a part of our program this morning. Once again, Merry Christmas, and we're wishing you a prosperous New Year, even though we are going to still meet, but we'll keep wishing you a prosperous New Year until we enter 2025. My name is Nyamgul Agaji, on behalf of the entire crew, saying thank you for being there.